All right, DeVon, let's get right to it. So you are a Hollywood producer. How did you get started in that field of work?
Yeah, I got started as a producer, man, almost 20 years ago. I got started as an unpaid intern working for Will Smith back in 1996. I was a freshman at USC, University of Southern California, and I had dreams of making it in Hollywood. And so I pursued an internship to go alongside my educational experience or my academic experience. And I applied for an internship working at the management company that managed Will Smith. And in that internship interview, I grew up as a Christian, observing the Sabbath. And in that internship interview, they asked me, first of all, why I wanted to be in entertainment. And I told them, I said, I want to be in entertainment because I want to make change. And at first they thought I was talking about money. I said, well, no, I mean, money's fine, but I want to be in entertainment because I want to make change in the world. I believe that entertainment is one of the most powerful mediums in the world. And if I can be a part of this industry, then I believe I can affect people's lives in a positive way. So then once we got through that, at the end of the internship interview, they said, is there anything else you want us to know? Well, growing up as a Christian, observing the Sabbath, that was very important to me. So I said, I observe the Sabbath. So if taking this job would require me to work on the Sabbath, unfortunately, I won't take it. And so they were, kind of like silent. They didn't know quite what to do. But after a moment of silence, they said, okay, we will give you the internship and we will allow you to have the time off for your Sabbath. So I started, in entertainment at 18, and it was fascinating because it really was the beginning of me understanding how to merge and incorporate my faith into everything that I was doing. And I parlayed that internship into being an assistant. Ultimately, when I graduated, I parlayed the assistant job into becoming an executive, a junior executive for a production company. I parlayed that into becoming a studio executive and was a studio executive for over 10 years. And then I parlayed that from being a studio executive and leveraged that into becoming a producer. So every single thing that I have done goes directly back to the internship that I got at the age of 18.
Did you know that you wanted to be a producer when you were first starting out?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I knew I wanted to be a producer from the time I was a kid. I knew it. I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. I was passionate about it. I remember watching movies like The Color Purple and Rocky and Back to the Future. And I just wanted to know, how do you make those kind of movies? What do you do? And so as I learned, the producer is the one behind the scenes making it happen, then I got really focused on becoming a producer. So I knew at 18 when I was pursuing Hollywood that ultimately becoming a producer was my goal. What I didn't know at 18 was that it was going to take about 18 more years before I would have been ready to be a producer. Had I known at 18 it would take another 18 years, I don't know that I would have committed. So I'm glad I didn't know, because it ultimately allowed me to achieve my goal.
Well, that brings to the question I wanted to ask you about hardship. So you faced many hardships, I'm sure, on this journey. What's one hardship you faced, and how did you overcome it? How did you stay positive through it?
Yeah, there's so many hardships. I mean, even now, producing a film and just, being an author and doing all the things that God has called me to do, it's great, but it also comes with an immense set of challenges. So one of the things, I'll never forget, being at Sony when I was an executive and having aspirations and dreams of wanting to be a producer, but not being sure how to do it. And one of the challenges was just going to work day to day and trying to remain hopeful and optimistic that things were ultimately going to work for my favor. But when I would show up at work, I wouldn't see it. So one of the great challenges was just navigating seasons, months of sometimes even, dare I say, years where I was showing up for work, but having no idea when I was going to ultimately walk in my purpose and when I was going to, really feel the validation that I was seeking from my own competency. And how I got through those challenges, were a number of things. One, staying in church was very helpful. Two, really fighting through the frustration. Frustration, I believe, is an energy killer. I believe frustration is works against our destiny, works against our purpose. And so what I would do in those moments of frustration, I would begin to say, okay, what in the moment can I focus on that will actually be productive? Because frustration is not productive. it just makes me feel worse about where I am. So let me find something in the moment that would allow me to be productive. And so that was helpful. And then I really surrounded myself with people that were positive. That was really, really important. You know, who you surround yourself with determines the direction in which you go. And so I did not allow myself to hang around people that were negative, that, you know, didn't see things the way I saw them. I really allowed my group to be small, but positive and forward facing. And those were the things that really helped me navigate the challenges. And also in entertainment, which I know is not, I mean, pretty much every business is this way. You know, it's hard. It's difficult. It is not an easy business. Hard personalities, millions of dollars on the line, projects, pressures, egos every single day. So just navigating that was a challenge that just required patience on my part, and also required a commitment to the process. That's something that Will Smith taught me, which I love to teach others. You got to commit to the process. You know, he said it's not about, you know, a moment of success. It's about a lifetime of success. And you have to commit to the process of success, no matter how long it takes. And learning that from him really helped me endure those seasons when I did not feel like I was going to become the success I was dreaming of.
Were there times where you doubted that your dream would not happen?
Yeah, there were times, you know, when I was an executive for Sony, you know, there were many days that I was like, I don't see how this is going to happen, because I just didn't see how things could work together for me to, one, become, to get promoted. Because at the time I viewed, let me get higher in the system. Let me become a more senior executive as a way to ultimately become a producer. And there were times when I didn't know how it was going to happen, because, you know, you're showing up. At the time when I was at the company, they had a lot of executives, especially a lot of senior executives. So it was very top heavy. So it was very, very difficult to figure out, how am I going to navigate this and how am I ever going to get there? I mean, there were many days, John. Oh, sorry, I get passionate about it. There are many days that I can tell you, man, I was in my office, I'd be crying, because I'm like, Lord, how is this going to happen? And I don't feel validated, and I don't feel like, you know, there's a purpose for my life, and I don't see it. So it was hard. It was not easy. And it just required a lot of patience, a lot of grit in order to endure it and get to the point where I am now.
That's awesome. Well, now, where you are now is you're the author.
Yes.
Of incredible book. I love it. We got it. The Hollywood Connection.
Yes.
So tell the people watching right now more about this book. What inspired you to write it? And then what is the book about?
Yes. Thank you so much. I mean, this book is my heart. It's my passion. I could talk about this book all night long. It's the Hollywood Commandments. It's a spiritual guide to secular success. And it's basically the top 10 lessons for life-changing success that I've learned from working in Hollywood for 20 years. There is so much information sometimes buried in the environments, in the industries that we work. So I wanted to distill that knowledge from what I've learned from Hollywood as a way to help the reader become the success that they have already been ordained to be. Too often, people salivate over celebrity careers that they see in Hollywood at the expense of their own. Too often, people of faith never live the power of their calling because they operate in fear, and there's a fear of secular environments, and sometimes a fear of secular success, because too often in the community, we have been taught, community of believers, we've been taught, oh, you can't go too far, be careful. And that be careful and beware mentality has kept generations of well-meaning believers living beneath the power and potential of their calling. So as a result of that, this is something I'm passionate about, because growing up in the church, when I told people I wanted to go to Hollywood, they did not support me. They chastised me. They said, no, it cannot happen. No, it's not where God would be with you. And I said, well, how do you know? You know, I said, when Jesus, you know, told the Israelites that they were salt and light, well, the fundamental function of salt is it has to be put on something in order for it to work. So how can I, you know, be a person who is salt and not go to where I can be most useful, which is an environment that may not have a lot of salt? Same with light. You can't shine light in light. You got to shine light in darkness. So believing those texts and being inspired by the story of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these were the foundational texts that when I began to look at my career and look at my life, I began to see so many parallels. And as a result of that, I wanted to write the Hollywood Commandments to literally be a manual for success, a manual for how to navigate whatever industry you're in, how to deal with people, how to negotiate, how to handle your own personal business, how to keep your mind right, how to handle things that are going on in your life. The book is everything I've learned to date, condensed into 10 life-changing commandments that I believe will inspire and transform whoever dares to read it.
If you had to give one piece of advice from the book, what would that one piece be?
Oh, one piece, John, man.
I want people to read the book. So for right now,
Yes.
one
Yes. Yeah. One of the things that is a big part of the book, one of the commandments is you get what you negotiate, not what you're worth. And it's so important because sometimes we just think that, oh, you know what? I'm a good person. I'm a good worker. The company's going to take care of me, so I don't have to worry about negotiation. Also, sometimes in life with our friendships, our family ships, and even in our marriage, we find ourselves in roles that are de facto we've gotten comfortable with, but we really don't like the role because we haven't taken the time to renegotiate. So we find ourselves accepting certain things that we really don't appreciate, or we really don't find happiness in or success in because we haven't taken the time and the courage to renegotiate. So this particular commandment is all about how you can renegotiate your life, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's with your friends. Renegotiate. Don't just accept what life brings you or what the job brings you. Don't just assume things are going to work for your good. Be a participant in it as much as you possibly can. And this commandment is all about how to negotiate for the life you really want, and also to help define the life you want. Because too often we never say, well, this is really what I want. This is what compensation looks like for me. Because sometimes in the job, we think compensation is just money. It's not just money. Compensation is about lifestyle. How do you want your life to be? So once you understand that, then you can position yourself to negotiate for it. And one of the keys to negotiation is the eradication of fear. Too often we allow fear to cause us to ask for less than we know we're worth, or less than we know what we want, because we're afraid. Well, we don't want to offend anybody. I don't want anybody to be upset. So when we operate that way, then we allow ourselves to be the recipients of the offense because we have to live with what the fear produced. So this commandment is all about how to, directly deal with your fear and begin to put in place a process to negotiate for the life that you really want.
I meet a lot of people who are very afraid. They're living in fear. So what would you say to them? How do we eradicate our fear?
Now, here's how you do it. Faith is part of eradication of fear is to embrace fear. So I believe like faith, the first part of eradication is to identify that you are afraid. There's something you're fearful of. So how do I deal with fear? You make your fears your to-do list. Everything you're afraid of, that's where you start. You hit it head on. Now, sometimes when we think of eradication, we think of complete removal. I don't look at eradication that way. I look at facing my fear, still having faith in the face of fear, and not allowing fear to be a barrier to action. So anything I'm afraid of, I hit it head on. And the way that it is eradicated is the result that I get and the reward I get from having faced the fear. So many times when I've been afraid of something, especially when it comes to negotiating and asking for what I want, once I actually just own it and say, hey, okay, this is what I believe I'm worth. Now, I even though I'm afraid, I put it out there, and then the process begins. And the reward that I got from being honest and facing my fear was what ultimately helped me get over the fear to begin with.
Who inspired you to live this way? I mean, who are your heroes?
Oh man, oh my goodness, I have so many heroes. My mother, she's my hero. My father died at the age of 36 when I was 9 years old. And so my mother was a single mom. She raised me and my older brother and younger brother, along with she raised us with her mother, which is my grandmother, and her 7 sisters. So it was a village of women that raised me and my brothers, and they are absolutely heroes in my life. Also my uncle, Pastor DJ Williams from Oakland, California. He started his church back the same year that my father died. 30 years ago. And growing up in that church and having the influence and the wisdom imparted to me by my uncle, he's a huge, huge, huge hero. And, someone I've referenced already on this, on our interview, Will Smith, is a hero of mine. I mean, just his positivity, his zeal, his zest for life, his commitment to success, his commitment to the process, his work ethic. So much of how I live my life right now and the passion with which I draw from comes from having learned from him.
You're an author. You are a producer now. You have your own production company, right? I mean,
Yes.
On your own. You left Sony. You start on your own. You're also a preacher. You preach on Sundays at your uncle's church, right?
Well, I preach everywhere. I was preaching on Sabbath at my uncle's church for about 10 years. And then as the speaking started to increase, other ministers came to help him out. And now I'm speaking, all around the country, honoring as many invitations as I can accept.
Unbelievable. And you're an actor. I mean, you are one of the most inspiring people, honestly, one of the most inspiring people I've ever met. So,
oh, thank you, John.
Each day you get up, like, what drives you to do what you do, to write this book, to go speak, to produce the movies? What inspires you to live the life that you live?
Man, John, I mean, sometimes I ask myself the same question because there are moments when I feel completely crazy. It's like, well, why are you doing all this? Why don't you just do?
How many people are speaking in churches and then going to Hollywood meetings talking about coming out?
I know. I mean, trust me, I know it's quite a balance and quite a unique mix, I must say. The thing that keeps me going is I'm hungry. I am hungry for everything that God has called me to be, everything he's called me to do. And as much as I'm doing, I don't feel like I'm completely where I'm supposed to be yet. I feel like I'm on my way. I feel like I'm walking in steps of destiny. I feel like I'm walking in steps of purpose, but I don't feel like I have yet achieved where I'm supposed to be. And it's not so much about, I want to produce this many movies or, sell this many books or make this kind of money. It's about purpose. And I feel like I'm close to doing what God created me to do, but I'm not there yet. And because I don't feel I'm there yet, I'm hungry. So I get up in the morning in the same way I need to eat physically. I got to eat, emotionally, spiritually, purposefully. I just don't feel like I'm there yet. So that's what just drives me crazy. And I drive my staff crazy, everybody, because I'm like, let's go. We got to go. Let's go. Come on. What are we doing? Let's go. Because I just feel a burden to help as many people as I can along the way. And that's one of the things that I love about the opportunities God has blessed me with, is that I'm not trying to impart anything to anyone from what I used to do. I am imparting as I am doing. So I'm learning. So this is real-time knowledge. I have not made it. I'm not looking down from the mountaintop saying, hey, here's how you get up the mountaintop. We're all going up the mountaintop together. And I am helping you navigate. Hey, as you're going up the mountaintop with me, let me tell you what I just did that worked. Let me tell you what didn't work, so that it can be real-time guidance, information. And I want to do that through every medium of entertainment. And that's why I do it. It's not easy, but I'm hungry, I'm passionate, and I'm just committed. I just don't want to leave this life untapped. I don't want to leave this life not pursuing what I'm supposed to do. So those are the things that keep me motivated and keep me up at night and get me up early in the morning.
Well, you are pursuing it. Let me tell you that. You are pursuing it. So, this book just came out.
Yes.
I don't want to take away from this, but I want to know what you're excited about, like, next. What are you working on now that you are really excited that people watching this can get a sense of what's coming next?
Yes. What I'm excited about next is my next film. It's called The Star. It's the story of the nativity, but from the animal's point of view. And it's animated. It's the first animated movie of faith since The Prince of Egypt, if you can believe that. And it's, the lead character is Bo the donkey, who carries Mary and Joseph to the manger. And he gets all of his animal friends to help make sure that the prophecy is fulfilled and that baby Jesus is born underneath the star in the stable, in the manger. And we have everybody from Tyler Perry to Oprah Winfrey to Tracy Morgan to Gina Rodriguez to Kelly Clarkson, Kristen Chenoweth, Ving Rhames, Anthony Anderson, Patricia Heaton. We have everybody, all-star cast that has come together to help bring this story to life. Mariah Carey just recorded and wrote what I can tell you is an inspirational smash hit. It's the title song from the film. We have Fifth Harmony that just did a song for the movie. We have Kirk Franklin casting crowns. We have an all-star cast. So this movie comes out November 17th in theaters all around the country. It's really about the first Christmas, and what better way to kick off the holiday season right in time for Thanksgiving than with the star.
That's unbelievable. Oprah, what does she like?
Oh, Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Tracy Morgan play the camels that the wise men ride in on. And so they're the camels that aren't as wise as the wise men. And what's fascinating, what we wanted to do was just to show the story of the nativity, but show it from this point of view. So, for example, the wise men are bringing in frankincense, gold, and myrrh. And so the camels that Oprah, Tyler, and Tracy play, they're trying to figure out why the wise men are bringing gifts and where they're going to. So one camel thinks they're going to a baby shower. The other camel thinks they're going to a birthday party. And Oprah's camel says, no, we're going to meet the Son of God. So and it's fascinating to see how it all kind of plays together. So that's the character that she plays. And let me tell you, their chemistry in this film is just fantastic.
Incredible. So we got the book, we got a movie coming out. You're speaking all over the place.
Yeah.
I want to finish with just a few questions, a few personal
Please.
questions that I just
Please.
love to ask people, and would love to know, what was one of your defining moments in your life that made you who you are today? One sort of defining moment.
I would say, losing my father, when I was 9 years old was a defining moment because, he was an alcoholic. He did ultimately get clean right before he passed away, but to die at 36 and to leave me and my brothers to figure out manhood without him, I think that was a defining moment because it was painful. It was difficult. Even now, I wonder, well, what would Dad think? And would he be proud of me? And how would he help me do what I'm doing? And the reason why it defined me is because it really produced a determination that I did not want my life to end up the same way. I don't drink because of that. Not that I'm afraid of the alcohol. It's just that I want to make a different choice. I want to break a generational curse. My grandfather was an alcoholic. I just found out recently that my father's mother, my grandmother, that I never met because she passed away before I was born, was an alcoholic. Three of my uncles, my father's brothers, struggled with alcoholism. So it was a defining moment because it changed everything. It changed how I thought about myself, how I decided to live, and it birthed the determination because I want to create and be who I'm supposed to be as a way to make good on the life that was cut short with my dad. So I would say that, John, is probably one of the greatest defining moments in my life.
Love that. Powerful. Yeah, my dad left when I was one. Definitely a defining moment in my life.
Wow.
Raised by my stepfather when I was 5. But people often ask me that same question, and that's a big part of who I am today.
Absolutely.
My dad passed away 2 years ago. My mom passed away 10 years ago. I often ask the same question: would they be proud of me?
Yeah.
Proud of
me.
It's funny how we live in our lives, leaving a legacy based on what we learned from them, and also what we want to honor them with.
Absolutely. It's all about that for sure.
So one word that you would pick to define your mission and purpose, one word that would be your life word. If you had to pick one word that was like the word of DeVon Franklin, what would that word be?
Faith. Faith, period. Faith is, it's a real superpower. I'm a producer. I'm in Hollywood. So, our goal in Hollywood is to make illusion real. So many times people are going to theaters, watching superhero movies, and the goal is to make it look real. But it's all fake. It's fake. Okay. You cannot fly through the city of New York with some pajamas and a web. You can't do it. It's all made up in the computer. All right. It's all fake. But faith is a real superpower. Faith can absolutely change environments. Faith can disrupt an entire industry. All things are possible to those that believe. So faith is absolutely the one word that I would say defines me and what I'm about.
And one final piece of wisdom or advice you want to share with the people watching.
Yeah, one of the commandments that I love, in addition to the negotiation commandment, is commandment number 8. Your difference is your destiny. And I think too often we wish we were other people. We don't think that we have what it takes to make it. And sometimes we don't own the difference in which we were created. So I just want everyone watching this to own your difference. Your difference will take you to your destiny. You were created different for a reason. You were created different because of what God wants to do with you. Your difference is not a liability. It's an asset. When you go in the supermarket and you go down the aisle, one of the aisles, you're going to see a whole aisle full of chocolate chip cookies. Okay. The reason why there are 30 different brands of the same cookie is because each one has a different recipe. And you don't see Mrs. Fields saying, hey, we have a better recipe than Keebler's. No, everyone owns their recipe and knows that there is enough shelf space for them to be successful. And the same way that works, I want you to know that you have a unique recipe that makes you great, and your difference will create the space you need to be successful.
Man, that's awesome. DeVon Franklin, incredible book.
Thank you.
I'm excited for you, the work that you're doing, the difference you're making. You are not just a game changer, you're a world changer. And so really appreciate the difference you're making in this world.
I received that, John. Thank you so much, man. You're a world changer. I'm just blessed to be talking with you, man.
You know what? People, a lot of people know who you are, but there are a lot of people who don't. But you know what? They're going to know. They're knowing with this movie, with this book, with all the movies you have coming out for us, how you're changing the world with your movies. I'm just so excited about the future, about what you're producing for the future and creating. And I'm just thankful that you're able to share with us now. Just don't forget us a few years from now.
Okay, I won't forget you if you don't forget me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for making a difference.
You're welcome, my brother.